Hello, I'm Allan Schmaltz, a graduate assistant with Sports Information Office. I'm here today with Tim Connealy, head women's basketball coach for Chadron State College. Tim, you played 2 games last week to open up the season against 2 Division I schools in BYU and Air Force. Can you just talk a little bit about how that went and the experience of playing 2 Division I schools?
Yeah, it was good for our kids. One of the reasons we schedule, well, there's a couple of reasons we schedule these games. Luckily in our sport, we're allowed exhibitions where we can go and kind of work on things that we've been working on early in practice without implementing a full game plan, and on top of that, it's a good experience for our kids to go out and face tough competition. We went out to BYU, and BYU has a very good team. They won their conference tournament last year, and they returned 9 of their top 10 scores, so we knew it was going to be a tough challenge. They're a team that presents full court pressure, which is something we really needed to work on. So we went out there and we were a little shorthanded due to injury, but I thought the kids competed really well. We didn't handle the pressure real well early in the game, as you can see by our turnovers, but once the kids kind of got used to the speed of the game and what it's like having a 6'3" girl guard you instead of 5'9" like in practice, they slowly started adjusting to that, and by the last 10 minutes, it looked like we got a lot more comfortable. That carried over into Air Force. We went into Air Force and really, really played well in the first half. The kids came out and competed well, but not just that, they were executing better. The effort was there against BYU, but the execution wasn't. And I thought that we played a lot smarter in the first half for the most part in our half-court offense, and we were able to get some shots. Now they did, press us in the first half, just like BYU, and we had some silly turnovers again, which was a little bit disappointing. After facing that kind of pressure against BYU, I thought we'd be a little more prepared for that. But again, once the girls got used to that pressure a little bit, they were able to knock down shots in the first half and really close the gap. I think it was within 10 at halftime, and in the second half, particularly the last 10 minutes, you can tell our girls just kind of got tired. You know what I mean? And they were still working hard. We just weren't able to get back on defense like we should have to cover up some easy baskets. So I thought it was a great learning experience, for myself, for our kids, and we were able to get some stuff on film and really get in there and learn from our mistakes. So hopefully that'll carry over.
Yeah, for sure. Now, just looking at the box score, it looks like you have Dallas Shaw and Katie Ranta returning from last year, and then Greer, who played a little bit, and then you got a couple new starters. Can you just talk about your young team and some of the new kids you have this year?
Yeah, we are pretty young, and I think it shows a little bit more just because, we do have one returning starter, our second leading scorer and rebounder from last year, Sadie Waugh, but she's been a little bit banged up in the preseason. So she's still there, as a leader in practice, but as far as in a game, she's not able to be on the court quite as many minutes as she's used to right now, and I think because of that, we are a fairly young team. You mentioned Dallas Shaw. She got some decent minutes for us last year, but outside of those 2 kids, we really don't have anybody on this team that has had consistent minutes for us, at the collegiate level. So I thought some kids are doing really well with it, though. Katie Rant has really stepped up, and right now, offensively, we're going to rely on her a little bit to get some shots up. But we're a very, very young team right now. We're untested. But I think these kids are starting to learn how to work hard, and if you work hard, I don't care how young you are, how inexperienced you are, you're probably going to be able to be in some games.
Agree. Now, this weekend you play Montana State Billings at home, and this will be the first home game for the women's basketball team. Can you tell us what we should expect to, see out of the ladies this year, and what kind of team Montana State Billings has coming in this year?
Yeah, it's still going to be a growing experience. I can't tell you for sure what we're going to look like yet. I think I'll have a good idea by December or January. Right now we're still growing. These kids are still young. I think the last few games we've been putting, 3 freshmen on the floor that are playing significant minutes, and we only have 1 senior who hasn't been on the floor a lot, So we're still learning. On top of that, we've had some injuries early in our preseason and early in our exhibition season, which have prevented some kids from getting on the floor, So that chemistry has kind of taken a little bit of a hit, but once these kids get back, I think, obviously we'll keep competing, but it might take a game or 2 just to kind of get back in the flow and back in the rhythm of having our normal rotation back.
All right, okay. And then can you just talk about a few of your goals, team-wise for the season? Last year you ended on a pretty hot note. I think you won at one point 8 of 9 and then made a push for the playoffs. Can you just give us a couple of goals of what your team for this season?
Yeah, we're trying to keep it pretty simple this year, because we don't know exactly what we have yet, and we want obtainable goals. And right now we're just focusing on one day at a time and improving. You know, if you can make sure you're getting better every single day and we're getting better every single day, then I think the results will take care of themselves. You know, I think sometimes coaches and even players get hung up in how many games we're going to win or lose at the end of the year, you know, and a lot of that stuff might be out of your control. You know, you can't control injuries. You can't control your schedule. You know, you can't control, you know, what your opponents may or may not be doing, you know. So I think if you put a number on a certain number of wins, you know, it's not real concrete. You know, it's a lot more concrete for us to say, you know, we need to improve our half-court man-to-man defensive rotations, which we need to do right now, you know. So right now going into practice tonight, I know that's my goal for my team, you know, and we're just trying to keep it as simple as possible and really focus on the small fundamentals, and hopefully if we can improve in those areas, then the results will take care of themselves.
Yep, keep improving every day. The wins will take care of themselves. So, all right, well, I'm Allan Schmaltz, and this is Tim Connealy. Come check out the women's basketball versus Montana State Billings this Sunday at 3 p.m.
All right, thanks a lot.